So here's Bunny. What he's eating, it's a she, sorry. What she's eating right now is willows from my weeping willow. They have the little catkins on it and the new blooms, and if I give them the really small branches, they'll eat them completely. If they're about half an inch wide, they'll just eat all the bark off and then just teeth themselves on it. But you can see what she's going after. She really likes those little blossoms. And I just listened to Paul Wheaton on his Reverence for Bees podcast, and he says that willows is one of the best trees for bees because they blossom so early. And so apparently it's also good for rabbits. When I put forage in for them, it's one of their favorite foods. So, and I do have some planted. I have some stuck in the ground, and they might make it. Who knows? Hard to know. That tree was one of the two. There's only two trees in our front area. That's our neighbors. So we had this tree, the weeping willow, and the big Austrian pine. And again, hadn't been watered for 15 years. And it was stunted. It's finally started to take off because we have watered it. But it was stunted, but it was alive, which is incredible. Because it's right next to the poison pasture, but it still made it. So I'm kind of impressed with the whole willow thing. And our Nanking cherries just started to blossom, so I wanted to get some videos of that, but they're in the back pasture, so I can't do it right now. This is where I'm going to start putting the stable manure from the goats, is this spot. This is a place where voles are really bad. And so as far as living things, I've planted 300 trees up here in this space alone. And I'll show you what has made it. This rose bush. There were 50 of these that I planted originally. One rose bush. A pulsatilla, which is an evergreen kind of a tree, bush. They're really pretty. They have little yellow flowers. I don't know if this one's... Oh, we have a tiny bit of regrowth at the bottom. So another pulsatilla. Pulsatilla. And that's about it. Here's a Siberian pea shrub. This is the only Siberian pea shrub that I planted up here, and it did make it. So, Siberian pea shrub. And so I planted this 3 years ago. This is a rugosa rose, and it's still alive, but it has not grown. It has not gained any size. Another rose bush that I planted 3 years ago. It also has not gained any size. This is a poplar I put out here last year. It has a tiny bit of new growth, not from the main branch. The main branch died, but it came back from the roots a little bit. I planted, I don't know, another 50 of the black locust up here, and this is one of the two that made it. And so there's one black locust. All these others that you're seeing are the sticks from the cottonwoods and stuff that I put in the ground. Oddly enough, my elderberries made it that I planted 3 years ago. I have 2 elderberries that made it, and then I added 2 from my mom as new starts from her elderberries. So I have an elderberry and an elderberry, but I really, really, really watered them. I mean, it was crazy water for these guys. Here is a rose bush that made it. What happened last year was when I was watering, here's another elderberry. I had everything going really well with the drip system. And then, stupid me, I came out and cut down all my weeds. The weeds were taller than the trees, and I thought that was a bad thing. Like, you know, they tell you that the weeds will rob nutrition from your plants, from your trees. And so I came out when I had weeds up to my head, and I cut down all the grass, and I cut down all the weeds. And at that point, my trees have been doing really well. They were green, they were lush. I just had to find them in the weeds. As soon as I cut those weeds down, they died. It was the middle of summer, and it was too hot, and they just shriveled and died. So when people tell you to cut your weeds down, don't cut your weeds down. There's no reason to do it, because the weeds are giving shade to your trees. The weeds are shading your trees. They're holding moisture into the soil, and they are preventing evaporation of all that water that you're putting on your trees. So everything you see here that looks so dead, there's probably eight live trees here that have been here the whole 3 years. And yet I have planted and replanted this spot. And I do believe that if I had left those weeds, those incredibly beautiful lush weeds that I would have, this would be completely full of trees right now. But foolishly, I obeyed the instructions that I thought I was supposed to. And when I killed my weeds, I killed my trees, because my biodiversity went away, and my root systems went away, and the water went away. So this is my other black locust. You can see it doesn't look very happy. I think there at the bottom it's still alive though, so it might come back. This is a pine. I don't remember which one it is. I'll have to ask my friend that I bought it from. The other one that has made it, I had butternuts out here too, but alas, only 2 of them made it. But one of my comfreys made it. Can you see that? My comfrey. And I did have some yarrow back here, but I think it died. This is an actual potted rose. It's another wild rose that I got. And it had a really good root system, and it was really nice and big. And I put lots and lots of rabbit manure on it so that it made it. And I think that's what the difference is if when I put them out, I put lots of rabbit manure at the base, they seem to make it. And then here is the serviceberry. They're just starting to leaf out. And I have planted other things out here. There's a dogwood that I got as a start from my neighbor. I planted lots of those out here, but not all of them made it. Another bare spot where there used to be a butternut. Another serviceberry. Another dogwood. Another place where there used to be a butternut. There's a tulip there. Another serviceberry. Another dogwood. Another spot where there used to be a butternut. Dogwood. Serviceberry. And here is my one butternut that has made it. Poor little thing. Another dogwood. Another serviceberry. I have some mint and other things out here. Hopefully the chickens haven't killed it. We'll see if it comes back. And I've got a ton of hollyhocks that I planted out here. Another reason why I kind of really wish that I didn't have all these chickens running around. And this one, what are you? I think that's just a willow. And no. Those are aspen. And I need to put something on them so I remember to come out and water them. Because up here, if I don't rabbit manure them, they're not happy. So, and in order to rabbit manure them and have the rabbit manure actually get into the soil, I have to water them. So I'm still watching to see if my Russian sage is going to come back or not. I don't know if it is. It still smells like sage. So it's not a sage bush, it's which we do have sage bushes, but sagebrush. More aspen that looks like it's coming back. There's a little tiny aspen in there that looks like it might come back. Nice looking aspen. My neighbor's aspen has already leafed out, but it's quite a bit more mature with better root systems than mine as of yet. So you can see this one is starting. And I have a friend next door that I need to ask her if I can get some more wormwood starts, because the wormwood fills in the space and it gives you roots, and it's so pretty. Let's see. Here's the riverbank grape, and I get almost all of my little plants from Coldstream Creek. It's in Michigan. They're incredibly professional. I love them. They turn out so nice. And so those are the ones that I use for that kind of thing. Here's my wormwood. You can also use it to worm yourself and your animals. There's another aspen. I don't know why it keeps getting knocked over. That's because of that stupid box. But I have to put these here because otherwise people, if I don't mark what I have planted, I forget that it's there. And then I plant something else there, and then later on I'm like, I wonder what was there. I wonder why it appears to be dead. And so, let's see. There we go. That should work just as well. Can't get it to go in. There's one that's doing well. I don't really like to have it leaning on the metal, because if it's leaning on the metal, it's in contact with either that. If it's cold outside, then the metal's cold. If it's hot outside, that metal's hot. And so I don't like the metal to actually be in contact with the plant. Another riverbank grape. And darn it, they're really struggling. And another aspen. And this is a mulberry. I don't know how it's doing. The ones in the back are doing pretty good, but everything is doing pretty good in the back. This would be why I love my children and why I have these kind of things up, because my kids, at least they don't tromp the tree completely if I've got a cage around them. If I didn't have a cage around it, my kids would run over it and then walk on it. So that's why I have the cages on them. Another rose. And then over here, again, I have a hollyhock, serviceberry, or Juneberry, or Saskatoon, whatever you want to call them. And then this is a cherry. This is a honeyberry. You can see it's starting to leaf out. Honeyberry. I got my cherries and my honeyberries from Honeyberry USA. Another honeyberry. Another cherry from last year. And then a honeyberry, a cherry that's starting to leaf out. A cherry that's starting to leaf out. And a cherry that's barely starting to leaf out. And when I listened to Paul Wheaton's Reverence for the Bees, he said that you don't want to spread your species out across your property. If you have cherries, keep your cherries together, because when the bees go out, one platoon of them will only be looking for cherry trees. Now, do you want diversity? Yes. So plant other things among the cherries, but make sure that all the cherries are together so that the bees can find them all at the same time and they all get pollinated. So here is a peach. This is one of the poly peaches. And this is the Lappin's cherry. And I'm really glad that they haven't budded out, because it's turned cold again. Hi, Pink. And even though I have all this wood mulch that I probably should have scraped a little bit more back, I do have asparagus, but my kids keep coming out and picking it. They'll come out and just eat it raw. I have trained them well. So they've already eaten all the asparagus that's come up so far. And then in the island, this is where I had originally my garden. You can look at the dark, and that's all wood chips, manure wood chips. And so that doesn't get it muddy. It just kind of drains off and drains in, and which is nice. I'd like to put wood chips on our whole driveway, but my husband doesn't like it when I do that. If I did it again, it would lead to divorce court. Here's the living fence that I just stuck in, and we'll see what happens. But more aspen. So there's aspen all around the circle. There's aspen. And in the middle of the circle, there are, I think it's like shade master poplar or something. These are poplars that don't go straight up. They're poplars that bush out as a shade tree. The reason I planted them is because I want to set up a hammock here in the front. I have a hammock in the back, and I love it. It's set right over the ditch, so it's just fun. But we don't have any shade in the front. And so these are really fast-growing shade trees. And hopefully in a few years we'll be able to put up a hammock. Here's the other one. So hopefully they do pretty good. And then I have 2 hackberries. Hackberry there, hackberry here. And what else do I have up here? I have a wormwood and nettles and another Russian sage that I really hope comes back. They smell really nice. And then a choke cherry, Canadian choke cherry. I believe that's the correct name. So now that everything's going green, you now see what I've been doing, what I will be doing, what I will be watering as soon as we have water. And hopefully everything survives this year. I manured it really, really good. Just as we got to the end of summer. And so hopefully it's happy. If not, I guess we'll rethink that. So anyway, another thing up here is that our Stanley plum is leafing out and most likely will blossom out too, which is exciting because this year I can just let it go and let it do its thing. And then our European prune came back just fine. It's the one I had in the video from last year where it was dying and I put the duck pond under it, and you can see it came back just fine. And then if my chickens ate all my celandine, I'm going to butcher them. I think this one is another rugosa rose. Here's the celandine, another rose. And I'm rehabilitating my lilacs. I have taken lots and lots of barn litter, and I left it here over the winter so that the manure would wash into the soil. So hopefully they pop back this year, because they're not very big. The one over there that gets more water because of it comes off the roof is doing much better than these. And the deer and the voles had kind of killed it before we moved in. So, and then I have columbine, I think, right there. I don't remember what's right there, but I planted it on purpose. I know because I put the cage over it. And then I have the Manchurian apricot. Bald eagle. Can you see it? I hope you saw it. We have bald eagles nesting in our trees just south of us. And then another white poly. And I'm seeing leaves, not blossoms. Darn it. No, maybe there's some. Anyway, this was a Monterey cherry that we got. It was already distressed when we planted it, and then instead of flooding it with water, I just watered it normally. And it did come back up from the roots, but we're probably going to take it out. And then, let's see. And then back here, I've got autumn olive and, what's the other one? Cotton Easter. Autumn olive and cotton Easter. I don't remember which is which. Where's my other one? There it is. So it's still there. And I just put them in alternately. They're alive. It looks like this one just needs cleaned out a little bit. Maybe the wind was a little much on it too, because this spot gets hit with wind pretty bad. So I'm just going to uncover it a bit. Give it a break from the mulch that's blown onto it, unfortunately. All the way down to where it meets. There we go. That should make it a little happier. I don't remember which is which, so if any of you remember which is which one is the autumn olive and which one is the cotton Easter. Anyway. Oh, and so here's the Nanking cherries. All the way down. And once they really come into bloom, it is so beautiful. So if you have honeybees that are starting to wake up, having Nanking cherries would probably be your first bet because they blossom about the same time that the willows do. And we have very few dandelions yet. We had the little purple flowers. I don't know what the little purple flowers are called, but we've got the Nanking cherries. This is where I usually like to put my broody hens because the babies can stay cool under the tree, and when the fruit falls, they can eat it. But we're kind of waiting on the broodies. Our hens are not in a hurry this year to be mothers. So, anyway, here we go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I have my Magnus Lovage, which is a celery substitute. Right there. And I used to have mint out here, but I don't see it. So there's my Lovage. And also my sorrel has come up. And my nettles. So sorrel, perennial celery, which is Lovage, and nettles. And I feel really stupid because I came out and just dumped wood ashes out here. And when you dump wood ashes, it kills things because they need a fine dusting if they need anything, and they need it not to be on living plant. It needs to be on the dirt. So don't use exorbitant amounts of wood ash. It kills things, especially mint. It'll just totally kill mint. Here is a little tiny flower. I don't remember what it is. Here's some strawberries from last year, but again, I dumped ashes on it, so most of them died. And then here is my comfrey. So, and then we have some more comfrey in the backyard that's starting to come up finally. So, kind of exciting.